Hello everyone, I, Colonel Shantanu Roy from Fearless Leaders is going to talk on communication and how to build a bridge between two people, that is you and me. Communication skill is a very necessary facet of your life. It makes you improve your charisma, your own self-confidence. If you can convey your thoughts to the people in front, they adapt to you. You can be a better person, a better leader. So today, I will speak on communication. Communication is basically evolving and using your senses very correctly. They are hearing, seeing, smell, touch, and taste. Basically, these are the 5 of your senses which help you to communicate. Communication skills is basically the ability to use language in a receptive way and express, that is in the expressive way, the information that you want to put across. And while that communication skills or effective communication skills are very critical for your success, for your life, that is personal, professional, and all the aspects of life. The goals of communication is basically change the behavior of the environment, of the people who are being addressed and also the addressee to get action. If I am able to communicate something to the person in front, I should be able to tell him what he has to do very clear, and the clarity of thought has to move or flow between me and the person who is listening. Understanding person, the listener, has to understand what I am talking. He has to be clear about his actions. And if he is not able to understand or is not willing, my communication skills should prevail in such a way that I am able to persuade him into doing a certain thing. And biggest goal of communication skills or communication is basically flow of information between the two people, the team and the person who is communicating. So that is basically a flow of information. The ways to communicate are by speaking, writing, visual images, that is presentations, and most important is your body language. The types of communication coming on to them are formal, informal. On the basis of flow is basically vertical, cross-diagonal, horizontal, and on basis of expression are oral, written, and like I said, body language, that is by gestures. These types of communication will be told to you in details at the webinar or at a later stage in our capsules and modules. Going on to the next aspect of the barriers of communication. Again, now, like I said, the barriers to communication are 4. That is semantic barriers, emotional or psychological barriers, organizational barriers, and barriers in superior. Now coming on to explaining the barriers in communication. Semantic barriers can be of various types. First is the symbols with different meanings. Like if I say something or make a gesture which may not be understandable by the person in front, my symbol or my signals may not be understood because he is not standardized with my signals. He may not be understanding what I want to say. So the message or the info has not flown. Then, like in case of a virtual image, the image may not be properly shown, or maybe hazy, may not be clear, or the visual representation may not be in sync with what I want to say. So that is also again stopping the flow of info. Faulty translation. I say something in a language, or I say something, the man in front understands something else, or he doesn't know the language for it all it matters. So what happens? He basically does not understand what to do. He is at a loss of words. That means I have not been able to communicate correctly to the person in front. Then, sometimes when I am talking, or the person or the communicator is talking, the person in front, the listener, just assumes something which may not be in line with what the communicator is saying, and starts carrying out his actions, which may be totally wrong. So what happens? The work is undone. The things are not passed on in the correct perspective. And then is a specialist language. I may be a specialist in something. The layman may not be understanding what I am trying to say. I may be talking in high-flown words, high-flown languages, which I am conversant with. But the common man doesn't know what is the thing. So what happens in the bargain? He doesn't understand what I've said. The things have gone over his head. Like we call the bouncers, they have bounced over. So this is what we have to understand. Communication has to be at a level which is at a datum for both the people, the communicator and the listener. Going further on to the barriers is the emotional or psychological barriers. First is the premature evolution. That is, a person tends to react just on hearing a few words, which is wrong. He has to listen to the complete action or the orders which have been passed, or the communicator says something in little and small gestures which is not communicating correctly to the listener. Inattention in the environment. The communicator may not be communicating well or talking properly. So the environment or the listeners tend to divert their attention. There is inattendance or inattention in the air. Then loss of transmission and poor retention. Sometimes if you are speaking on the telephone, the line may not be very clear. Then also the listener may not be retaining, his frame of mind may not be correct, or he may not be of the required level of intelligence. He doesn't tend to retain what the work is supposed to be done. He tends to forget. Then undue reliance on written words. I should be able to speak and make you understand what I want to say, instead of trying to write out things. I'm showing you slides and relying on them. My verbal expressions should communicate everything to you. Then distrust of communication. That is, I don't have faith on myself that I can talk, I can speak, I can pass the orders to you. That makes me a poor communicator, or that shows that my skills are not toned up to the required level. And failure to communicate. That is, I may talk as much as I want, but the people or the team is not with me. That means I'm not a good leader. I'm not a good person who's able to tell what I want. People don't want to listen to me. Their thoughts are away from me. They don't take me as a leader. So these are basically the barriers, psychological barriers in the whole environment of communication. Then moving on to the various barriers are the organizational barriers, which are basically because of strict rules and regulations, the policies of the organization, then the status relations between the people or the working environment, they also can be barriers in communication, because if I'm not able to talk to my senior or my junior is not able to talk to me, it matters a lot. These are also barriers in communication. They are not able to convey their complete thoughts to me, or I may not be able to pass the orders to me if they don't want to listen to me, or if there is a distrust in the environment, a lack of communication, the whole system collapses, it fails. And then if the organization is very complex, the chains are not clear, the verticals are not very clear, there are too many people that a person may be reporting to, so he is confused, he doesn't know who to take orders from, and in the bargain, the organization suffers, the people don't learn anything, and the team doesn't move forward. So dwelling more on the barriers are your own personal barriers. When you are not able to communicate in a society, in an organization, in the environment, is the attitude of the person in front. He may be arrogant, he may be having ego, he may not be well versed. You tell him something, he just doesn't want to listen, he's clapped. So that makes communication very difficult and complex. Then there is the fear of challenging the authority. Like if you are doing something wrong or going on the road, you see a policeman standing. He's the authority, you don't want to challenge him. You are not at ease to talk to the person. Your teacher, you may be scared of him. Which should not be the case, because the teacher as a superior should be available to the people. There should be openness, but sometimes that doesn't happen. So that is one of the things, the lack of time. Everybody is in a stressful rush world. Time is at premium. So what happens? People don't tend to get that time to pass on the message to the other. He generally gives a short word or so which may not convey the whole gist of this thing or the action that is required. And in the work doesn't happen. Lack of awareness, like it is said, little knowledge is very dangerous. So if you are not aware of a certain thing, you will not be able to communicate and tell the correct things to the man in front. So what happens finally? The thing doesn't happen. You are not able to say the things in the correct perspective to the person in front. Then, barriers in the subordinates. What happens is, the subordinate doesn't want to communicate because he's scared of the superior. He doesn't have the guts to talk. And in the bargain, he's not able to give his mind to the person or his ideas. And again, this is where the team is losing out, because there is an improper flow of communication between the superior and the subordinates. Then is lack of proper incentive. Pat on the back if a job is well done, and also a kick on the back if the job is not done. So a pat is very necessary. If that is there, man or your team is always responding and wanting to give you ideas. So that is very necessary. So the superior and the subordinate both have to understand, and the info will flow, and you will see that the communication is very smooth. So after having spoken on the various aspects of the barriers in communication, before I conclude, I would only like to say that when you communicate, there are three components, and those three components are send clear messages. That is, what you talk should be very clear. It should have clarity of thought, clarity of mind, and clarity of info. It should not be a jargonized information. Concise messages. I should speak in the smallest possible time and smallest possible sentence, because time is premium. Everybody's time is premium, be it me or be it yours. So your messages should be short and sweet and should convey the full essence of the thing. And then is the medium of communication. receiving and sending the messages correctly is the ultimate way of communicating. So, gentlemen, to know the complete essence of communication skills and to communicate properly, listen to our webinar on the 2nd of January 2022 at 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. We will give you the complete story of how to communicate effectively between you and me. Thank you.